Now, if you're building websites using Bricks Builder for clients, chances are you're working in one of multiple different ways when it comes to handing things off to a client. Either you are not giving them access to the dashboard and you have a maintenance plan, and then they basically pay you a residual fee and you make all updates, changes, and additions for them. You may also be using tools like ACF or MetaBox and creating a very simplistic setup where you control exactly what fields of information they want and then tying that into a template. Again, nothing wrong with that, but it does kind of reduce the flexibility. The third, which is what we're going to take a look at today, is you may want to employ Gutenberg but still have control over all the template structure and how things are going to look. So the end user simply logs in, has access to creating post content, and then they use your template to display everything. Let me show you a simple example. This is a typical blog post template. As you can see, we've got the title, we've got the featured image, and then underneath we've got Gutenberg content. So we've got some basic text, we've got an inserted image, a subheading, a list. You kind of get the idea. Let me show you how easy it is to set this up using Bricks Builder. And then if you want to give limited control to your end user client, you could use this technique to do it. And don't forget that if you are using something like ACF and or Gutenberg, you can still control exactly what they have access to. So you can cut back all the options they have in Gutenberg and also give them ACF-based data input fields as well, and create a sort of hybrid approach. Let's take a look. So we're going to create the template that's a kind of catch-all template for our posts. So let's add a new template. We'll give this a name. We'll then assign this template type to be a single option, which will then apply it to the single. We can set up our conditions. So let's edit this with Bricks after we've saved a draft or the post. And the first thing we need to do is choose exactly where and when this is going to be used. To do that, we just come over to the settings, come into our template settings, and in there, we're going to choose conditions. We'll add a new condition. We'll choose from the list and we'll specify we want this to be a post type. And then we're going to set this to be posts. But you could do the same thing for posts, pages, custom post types, whatever you want. You have full control. We'll choose posts. We can set to populate content so we can see something inside here, which makes life just a little bit easier. So we'll say single post and we'll just search for something. So I've created a couple of sample posts and we'll choose this first one. Hit apply and preview. Now nothing's going to show up because we have nothing to actually display yet. So to kick things off, let's just simply add in a section with an inner container. We'll select that section and we'll come over to our styles and we're going to come into layout, link our margins together, and we're going to add a little bit of space here. Now I'm using Core Framework to do this, but you can put whatever values you want in, or if you're using something like ACSS or any other framework, use whatever you want there. Okay, so now we've done that, let's select our container. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come back over to our elements and we're going to search for content. And this is where things are a little different. This is where we can pull in and access that Gutenberg-based content that we can create inside, WordPress itself. By default, you probably just put a text area in, your header, those kinds of things. But if we use the post content, that will look at the post content itself that's created inside the Gutenberg editor and display that on our page. As you can see here, that's exactly what's going on. So you can see there's our subheading and so on. But now we can mix and match other options. You can see we don't have the heading inside here. We don't have the featured image inside here. So we can just use the normal options to do that. So let's go and add a couple more elements in. We'll add an image in and we'll also add in a heading. Now I'm not going to worry too much about how this looks. I want to show you the functionality. You can get creative with your design. So all we need to do is rearrange these now the way that we want. So now we have all the elements in here. Let's go and reorder things. We'll put our heading right at the top. Now all we need to do is tie this to the dynamic data. You can see this is currently just pulling in placeholder text. So let's come back to our content. We'll set this to be H1 because it's the primary heading on our page. We'll change this from I am a heading and we'll just add in dynamic data and say we want the post title. Now don't worry if this doesn't actually update. Sometimes I get this when I'm working with Bricks Builder. It doesn't always update the dynamic data inside here, but rest assured, it is all working. So finally, let's set the image up for our template. We'll select our image. We'll come over to the option for dynamic data and we'll just go and grab the featured image. You can see that pulls the featured image in for this particular post. And as you can see, we've got control over the size, the scaling, and so on of this. You can also easily come in and start to style everything here. So let's say, for example, we may want to put rounded borders on this, or we can simply come into our border radius and link those together. And for example, like I say, I am using the Core Framework, so I can simply use one of my variables. We'll say radius M. And all we need to do then is come into our layout, and make sure that we've got the option for our overflow set to hidden. And you see that now gives us our rounded corners. We may also want to make sure that our image, even though in the hierarchy of our page, this is sitting at the bottom, we may want this to be at the top. So from an accessibility point of view, the image is the last thing that screen readers will see and read out to us, but visually it'll be the first item. So we'll select our image, come into our order, and this example we'll say -1, and now you can see if we scroll up, our image is now right at the top. If you want to add spaces, padding, margin, any other effects you want to this, you can do just that here. Now let's go and save this. Let's test our page by refreshing it. And you can see everything is set up the way that you just did it. Now obviously it looks pretty ugly. You'd want to apply some styling to this to make sure everything looks the way that you want it to. But this does give you really simple functionality. And like I say, if you want to expand this and start using ACF or metafield data inside this alongside what we've done here, it's very easy to do. Just add in the relevant element, tie that to the dynamic data, and job's a good one. But I would love to get your feedback on this. How do you approach things? Do you give access to your client? Do you limit access? Or would this just give you the ability to think, well, I can give basic access. They can add in posts and pages maybe using the Gutenberg editor, but you still have full control over the design and everything using bricks. Let me know in the comment section below. As always, all applicable links are in the description. My name is Paul C. This is WPTuts, and until next time, take care.